If you can simulate that in a virtual world, you can do exactly the same, largely speaking, but have much more data, much more value from that activity. And that wasn't possible 10, 20 years ago.
What's the vision for JLR sustainability?
Yes, very clear from our perspective. We have an objective to be net carbon zero by 2039, and that's a really important goal to have as a company. For us, it goes beyond sustainability as well. When I talk about sustainability, we talk about diversity and inclusion as an incredibly important topic for us. And in the context of sustainability, you see that how we operate as a business and the decision we make. Our reimagined strategy sees Jaguar become all electric from 2025, which is an incredible step, years ahead of many of our competitors around us. Again, I talked about Jaguar being the first premium brand to commit to this all-electric World Championship. We led from the front rather than followed into that. So we've been very clear on what our target and our objectives are to reimagine JLR, and starting with that transition with Jaguar. We're excited to, earlier this year, announced the first all-new electric Range Rover, and it's backed up by projects like the ones we talk about, having the objective to produce renewable energy on site or nearby as well to power operations. So there's a huge amount of activity throughout the mix of our activities to not only drive sustainability but also to grow this incredible company, the incredible brands that we have.
How do you measure that from a racing perspective? How does that transcend into corporate?
Yeah, so for us it's tangible. What are the tangible changes that we're making? And if we can show projects we're working on, if we can show solutions that we're achieving. And I use a great example. In Formula E as a whole, we looked at how many staff members we have travelling to races. And we have 30 technical staff that can physically work in the team on the cars, on the technical aspects. We actually reduced that number to get to 30, and instead of having that number of people at track, we actually moved some people back to base. So using the capability of technology, we have 6 people that run a remote operations room that are based back in the UK. Wherever we are in the world, we have 6 people at an operations room. Previously, those staff were at track. So instead of having them at track flying on airplanes, we said, what's the minimum number of people we need to run our 2-car team with all this technology at trackside wherever we are in the world? And we actually reduced it by 6 and put those people into a remote operations room. They now access the data over the cloud to what we're doing. So for all intents and purposes, they're sat next to us in the garage, but they're not. They're thousands of miles away back in the UK with access to a simulator, to a driver in a simulator, and all our hardware in the loop. And so that is a remote way of working that means over the course of a number of years, we're just reducing our footprint. And it was a case of saying, what are the tangible examples of just working more effectively, right? So most importantly, what are the tangible proof points of it? And for us, that's really all that matters. Is we want to be a high-performing team, but constantly find ways that we can be effective. And ironically, in our experience, normally those efficiencies from a sustainability point of view actually are, in many cases, also effective as a team and as a company as well.
Do you think sustainability is held back by process, people's beliefs of how things are, technology? What do you think are the greatest barriers, and also the opportunity for companies to become more sustainable?
Yeah, so I think actually without a doubt it's a mindset element. It isn't all down to cost though. I think a lot of solutions that you can evolve come from how can we be more efficient. And I use a great example. We have an incredible opportunity with technology we have at the moment. And if I use the example of data management as one, in the past, you had to deal with huge amounts of data. In the past, for us to try changes on our car, we'd have to physically go and test the car. We still do some of that. But actually now what we can simulate means we do much more than we could ever do in the physical world. But we're doing it in a way which is cheaper because we're not traveling people all around the world to go testing and finding time. We have to move equipment to places to test. We have to do a certain amount of that, but we can do so much of that in the digital world. It's actually cheaper. And not only that, we can do so much more of it. The amount of data we can generate in a virtual world is much more than you can sometimes test in a physical world. So in a scenario where you want to take a car around the track and try setup changes or try a development you've created, that takes longer, it takes more cost. If you can simulate that in a virtual world, you can do exactly the same, largely speaking, but have much more data, much more value from that activity. And that wasn't possible 10, 20 years ago, but with advancements in how we manage data, cloud technology, AI, these are things which allow us to have that learning at a lot lower cost and a lot faster.